will be my last opportunity to address you before you adjourn to the jury room to decide the matters presented before you. A few things I'd like to point out before you leave is, number one, again, the position of the two cars. The incident report is clearly contrary to the testimony of the two officers. This was not addressed by the defendant or counsel during their closing arguments. Number two, let's talk about the closed knife. This was a jackknife that locked in the open position. As Mr. Ramirez was going, if he was going to stab Officer Levy and this knife was not in the locked position, the blade would have come shut on the fingers of Mr. Ramirez. It is not reasonable that the knife was not in a locked position as it was used. And as such, when it hit the ground in a locked position, the likelihood of that knife closing, virtually impossible. As for fingerprints on the knife, there may not have been fingerprints, but certainly there would have been palm prints on the knife. Yet the incident report says there was no discernible prints. And lastly, the blood. Certainly, if you stab somebody with a knife, there are going to be some type of trace of blood on the knife. Yet the lab report, as mentioned in the incident report, found none. The testimony of these two officers raises far more questions than it certainly answers. And again, if you think that it is more likely, 51% or more likely, that Mr. Ramirez is telling the truth, we ask that you find in favor of Mr. Ramirez and compensate him appropriately for these injuries that he will have to live with for the remainder of his life. Thank you.